All right, here we are at the Milagro Cohousing Development in Tucson, Arizona. Really unique thing about this site is this was not a retrofit. This was a new development built from scratch. So we're standing on the ridge line of this site. It was kind of a party zone. People would rip through in their 4x4s, drinking, so the ridge was really disturbed and bare, just kind of a wildcat dirt road. And the decision was made to build this co-housing development, a 28-unit housing development, on the most exposed part of the site, thereby preserving the more lush desert drainages or waterways where there was still more life. But when one builds on an exposed site, there's potential risks because you're on the exposed ridge. There's more wind whipping across the site. It's hotter in the summer. It can be colder in the winter. But the way it was developed as a cluster development with multiple units, oftentimes sharing exterior walls, a sheltered canyon was created on what was previously an exposed ridge by the way the houses were laid out and built. So between the houses, we have a lush, sheltered canyon that is receiving the runoff from the mesa-like rooftops. So we experience a nice, lush, sheltered canyon in what was previously a hot, exposed ridge. Pretty sweet. We should go in there and check it out. All right, so now we've come within the sheltered canyon of the Milagro Cohousing Development. And wonderful thing about this landscape is it was designed for so many beneficial functions. So all the pathways are meandering to offset the linearity of the buildings. And all the pathways are raised with adjoining sunken mulch basins that then passively capture the runoff from the roofs and also capture subsurface the recycled wastewater from the constructed wetlands here on the site. So the landscape is irrigated just with on-site waters, free rainwater runoff, and then the on-site filtered wastewater returned to resource water. The other great thing is since all the planted areas of the landscape were turned into sunken mulched basins, it doubles as the on-site flood control system. So there is no storm drain at the bottom of the site. There's no massive retention basin at the bottom of the site. Instead, all the smaller micro basins of the landscape cumulatively create the stormwater control system. And they have 10 times the stormwater control, the flood control capacity of a conventional stormwater system. So not only is this landscape of sunken basins and raised paths a water sustainable landscape where rainwater is the primary irrigator, but it's also a vastly superior flood control system at the same time. And we've got photos that show what this looked like right after build, where you've just got the bare soil and a storm of 2 inches of rain had just arrived and dumped 2 inches of rain in about an hour. And you see the water just sitting in the sunken basin areas. That was pre-sponge, before the organic matter of the surface mulch and the living pumps of the vegetation were put in place. When that was done, got another 2 inches of rainfall in about an hour, and all of that water infiltrated in less than an hour. Because now we had the sponge in place, not a compacted earth. And now as you look at it today, things are so vibrant, we can't even see through. I mean, all this abundant growth is just erupting from the fertile on-site waters. Gotta love that, because they've broken the paradigm where all too often drinking water is the primary or sole irrigation source of our landscapes. Think about how much money and resources we put into mechanically and chemically filtering our water and then pumping it and distributing it to everyone at drinking water standard, and then we just put it right in the dirt. That's insane. So here instead, They're making the rainwater and the stormwater the primary irrigator, and then recycled on-site wastewater as the irrigation sources of the landscape, not virgin drinking water. That's the path we got to take. Okay, so another great thing about Milagro is to really reduce the costs for the development, and to reduce costs of maintenance, and just to reduce maintenance period, and reduce water consumption. The decision was made by the community that just outside the close to home yard there would be a perimeter fence around the whole development that would separate the native wild environment from the more intensive human environment, where you've got more water available, more care, because that's where the people are hanging out more. So it's all natives out here. No one needs to tend it. And the great thing for all the neighboring neighbors in homes around this development, they look upon the native vegetation that they've always loved, not some unknown plantings or exotic plantings that might look out of place. But then as a walk along here, then we've got the perimeter critter fence, so it keeps the rabbits and whatnot out, so people are going to have more success with their gardens, their more tender exotic plantings inside the core and inside the gate. And I think that kind of zonation, that kind of separation is key. So we've got the higher water need plants that need more care, need more water, where the water is. Right next to the buildings, where they're getting roof runoff, they're getting the recycled water from the drains, and you've got the people there that can care for them. So it's a lot easier, it's a lot more convenient, makes for an easier, happier life. For more on the diverse water management at the Milagro Cohousing Development and many other developments in many other contexts and climates, be sure to check out Rainwater Harvesting for Drylands and Beyond, Volume 2, 2nd edition.